Hey everybody, Sarah here. My question for you guys today is a really tough one. My question is, why does God judge sin? Why does God punish people? Why can't He just forgive us and let it go? So firstly, I want us to consider the idea of justice, because justice is actually really important. You can't actually have goodness and have a good God without Him also being a God of justice. And we see that very clearly when we require the justice, when somebody hurts me or someone hurts someone I love. When that happens, that's when we realize that it's so important that there are consequences for people's actions and that right and wrong is delineated and that wrong is punished. But we don't like it so much when that justice is applied to me when I am the person that's wrong. Now, along with that, we have to understand that forgiveness always comes at a cost. So for example, if somebody goes out and totals my car and totally smashes it up, now I might decide to forgive that person, but somebody still has to pay for the damage to the car. Forgiveness always comes at a great cost. And then lastly, we also see these moments, especially in the Old Testament, but also sometimes in the New Testament, when God enacts His judgment in the moment, like on earth, rather than how it normally is. Judgment is normally after somebody dies at the end of their life. And those are very specific instances where we see that someone's sin and evil, and the sin and evil of a particular nation, has actually, God describes it as reaching the limit. It's become so bad and so destructive and so vicious and evil that He actually, in order to be a good God, He has to get rid of it right then and there. So that's where we see situations like the flood, when it says people's whole hearts have become so evil that there was nothing good about them. Or when we see the Israelites storming into the promised land and destroying the nations that they were coming in to replace. That was God's judgment on those nations who were doing things like practicing child sacrifice. So this is where sin has become so destructive that God actually has to put an end to it. So perhaps the more interesting question that you might consider is, why doesn't God judge us right away? If God says that the wages of sin is death, that the consequences for making mistakes and joining Team Evil is that you die, why is it that God doesn't just kill us right away?